Welcome to Student Spotlight, where each month we'll be spotlighting a different graduate student from the English department at Oklahoma State. My name is Sean Kulikin, the English grad student coordinator, and I'll be your host. And today I'm very excited to meet with our guest from the Rhetoric and Writing Studies program, Richard Sylvestre. Richard, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
So, Richard, the way this thing works is I ask you 5 questions and you give us 5 answers. Sound good?
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Awesome. Question number 1. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on here at OSU?
As you introduced, my name is Richard Sylvestre. I am working in the Rhetoric and Writing Studies program. I've been teaching writing in various capacities for going on 18 years now. I started with adult education in New Mexico at one of the branch campuses of University of New Mexico, and got interested in rhetoric and writing and wound up working on my master's while I was doing that. And then once I got that degree, I started teaching first year composition. And so I just kind of started expanding outward from there. When my husband went for his PhD work at University of Delaware, I did adjunct work there for the entire time that he was working that. And now I'm at OSU working on my PhD in rhetoric and writing studies and teaching lots of different classes and doing some interesting research. And hopefully that means I'll be a good prospect when I get to the job market.
Yeah, I hear that. Thank you very much for all that information. Yeah. Interesting. I think I'm a little similar too. I come from like a background of being a teacher and being an educator for many years. Yeah. Question number 2. Why did you choose to come to OSU?
Well, I had been applying to PhD programs for a couple of years. I think this was my 3rd round of applications that I sent out. And this was when I was at UD and working as an adjunct. The postdoc for the composition program there was from Oklahoma State. So he got his PhD in rhetoric and writing studies at OSU and wound up out there. Dustin Morris, I don't know if you remember him or not. And he suggested that I apply to Oklahoma State when I was kind of coming up with the schools that I wanted to apply to. And so I did, and here I am.
Hey, that's a great story. No, I have not heard of him, but yeah, thanks for sharing that. Funny how the word gets out about OSU. Yeah. Question number 3. What are some of the best things about this program that have happened to you that you'd like to share?
Well, I think that the fact that the faculty is very encouraging of choosing a topic that they might not necessarily have a lot of expertise in and still being willing to guide and suggest ideas, because as far as my interests, my focus is on queer concepts, so like queer theory, queer rhetoric, queer methodology, so on and so forth, even kind of figuring out what all that means, because ask different people about something that focuses on anti-normativity as a foundational concept and you're going to get lots of different answers. I've been able to really kind of throw myself at these ideas and use them to kind of shine a light back on the field of rhetoric and composition and see, like, how are we as professionals working with and engaging with these concepts over the past like 15 years. And even though nobody in the English department is necessarily an expert in, queer theory or queer studies or that kind of those aspects, they've been really supportive of it. So that's really something I appreciate.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds really fascinating and like really relevant to today. Yeah. Question number 4. Do you have any advice for other students and future students?
Um, well, I think part of that is to know when to say no, because as a graduate student, we tend to jump at every opportunity that kind of comes our way, and it's very easy to become overloaded. There was one particular semester where I was working for the English Graduate Student Association as the vice president. I was an inaugural member of the Center for Humanities Research Fellowships that they were doing, that they're still doing now. I had like several other things that I was doing. It was towards the end of my coursework, so I had two classes that I was trying to finish out, and I was pretty exhausted at that point. And being able to say, you know what, I probably shouldn't have done this. It's a good skill to have before it becomes a retrospective where you're like, oh yeah, I definitely took on too much.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And can I also add too, you also presented at our Southern Plains conference. You
That
were
was that same semester, yeah.
Yeah, you were on a panel and a presentation.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they were both really, really fascinating, really great. Yeah. So yeah, that is good advice. Sometimes you just have to say no. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the best for you. Yeah. All right, final question. Question number 5. What is one fun, unique hobby, interest, or memory that you'd like to share? And this could be related to OSU and your focus or just completely random.
Yeah. So, my best friend for many, many years, we actually met when I was an undergraduate student at the same community college that I wound up teaching for like a decade. He has lots of different interests, and we've like shared. And when we were working together, because we co-taught for a while, shared an office, every semester we would decide on something new that we wanted to learn, and we would just kind of throw ourselves in our spare time at whatever that was. Like solving Rubik's cubes was one semester, and figuring out how to like pick simple locks, that was another semester. Like just totally random stuff. And something that he was interested in, and he kind of self-taught himself, was how to make leather-bound journals. So from scratch, hand binding leather journals. And so he taught me how to do that, and we've worked together on and off for years for it. So the last one that I made is this right here. I figured I'd show you this. So this was from scratch. I find the right like kind of, sorry, the lighting is a bit
Yeah, no, I
washing it
can see
out,
it. It's
but
amazing. Wow.
yeah. And so from like folding the paper, stitching it together, and moving up from there to a complete leather bound journal, it's something that it makes really good gifts. It's something that
Yeah.
is pretty fun. It takes me probably, if I'm really focusing on it, it's about a 2-day project, because I have to work up to a certain point and then set it aside because there's glue that has to dry, and I gotta let it sit for like 24 hours and then finish it up. But yeah, that would be probably an interesting hobby that doesn't get much conversation or lights.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard about somebody making leather-bound journals. That is really, really cool. And that's perfect. You're an English major too. So
Right,
all
right.
right, making leather-bound journals. That's awesome. Really cool. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, thank you, Richard. This was a great interview, and thanks for being on our show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thank you to our viewers for watching, as always. And we will see you next month for another episode of Student Spotlight. Thank you. Take care.